Whoa, that's, where would you even stab something like that?
What manner of creature is this?
Stay close, Ishi. That's one heavy bird.
I'm not too proud to admit when I'm scared. Terrified, actually.
So alone. Never alone. Exokaizo reached. Here. We have been here. We're the gates of Akaizo. We guard the silence of Akaizo. You are a disturbance. No one remains. No one returns. Aethys has disturbed the bones of Akaizo. The old pacts permit him to pass, but you will go no further. Akaizo is closed. The gates are barred. Our covenant with the Old Ones does not forbid questions. The living were meant to forget Ukaizo. Nothing can be gained of remembering it. We will indulge ourselves before shredding your name from the long scroll of existence. The chosen people of the Deadfire called Akaizo home. The outsiders were their contemporaries, full of wisdom, ingenuity, and terrifying ambition.
That sure sounds like the Ingwithans. Guess they got around.
The outsiders passed from the world. None of them remain.
Not all of them passed. But we got the one they left behind.
The Old Ones and the Outsiders traded, collaborated, learned, and built together. Outsiders augured the doom of the Old Ones. The rift unmade them both. The Outsiders coveted ancient Ukaizo. Its occupation was a hindrance. Machines were built on a foundation of outsider lies. When the machines were nearly done, the Outsiders constructed bodies of flesh and bone, ones which drew the spirits of the dead through a sieve. Skeletons now, their remains littering Great Ukaizo. Finally, the Outsiders fashioned a guardian to stand vigil over their work. Our bond with the Old Ones compelled us to trust their allies. They offered us a trade, eternal life for eternal service. We were ordered to slam shut the gates of Ukaizo for all time. The Outsiders vanished from the world, leaving the Old Ones dumbfounded. Quiet gave way to chaos. Storms battered the seas. The sleeping hearts of mountains awoke with fury. When the last screams of the Old Ones faded, only we remained. None but the green colossus whose every footstep disturbs tranquility. You are the first kith to visit the shores of Lost Ukaizo, and you will be the last. This idle chatter was a refreshing change of pace. May your journey through the wheel be an informed one. You chose death when you set your bearing, traveler.
Can't get a clean hit.
Like that? Let's go.
Can't get a clean hit.
Lava, beyond seek.
try something else.
Hey, watch it.
This weapon's no good to me. The most inconvenient.
That was about as useful as a bump or a pickle.
Let's go. Quick, toss me something else. Better try something else.
Happy to oblige. Time to separate. Say your prayers.
Need something stronger.
Can't get a clean hit.
Quick, toss me something else.
At least you got the decency to
This
die.
weapon's no good to me.
Decency to die.
Let's go. Quick, toss me something else. Need something stronger.
Say your prayers.
This weapon's no good to me. Let's go. This thing isn't doing the job. Quick, toss me something else. This is futile. I'm feeling the same. Need something stronger.
Easy.
Yes. This is futile. Take that.
Aye?
After him.
Nuh-uh. Didn't work.
Yeah. I should deal with this one.
Might as well be hitting the water.
Need something stronger. Need something stronger. Let's go. Yeah.
I reap what I sow. That was about as useful as a bump on a pickle.
Hey, that wasn't that bad.
That was about as useful as a bump on a pickle.
very helpful.
Say your prayers!
Can't see a clean hit.
Need something stronger.
That dog will hunt.
Hey, that wasn't that bad.
After it. This is futile. Leave it to me. Eh? Why not? Yeah, sure. Got it. No problem.
Could I speak with you?
It's even scarier than in my dreams.
Sure.
You look like you have something on your mind. As a matter of fact, I did. I visited my father. I hadn't seen him since leaving the academy. It was. Encountering the Wahaki has forced me to face some uncomfortable truths.
Watcher, tell me what's on your mind. My folks, you might say they're not your typical Aethasians. Sure, they cling to the light more than the darkness. But the war, it touched my family. And it changed them. Killed some. Not that I remember firsthand. The others toughened, turned survivors. That much I saw with my own eyes, even years later. My aunt's the one who taught me about the cycle of life and death. How everything happens in stages. Whether forwards or backwards, from seed to rot to rebirth again, it's all just states of existence and balance. So that's how I first learned about the slice of Gone within Aethys. After that, I read all the doctrines of Gone, anything and everything I could get my hands on. The 12 books of Nearwith, plus the epistles from the minor prophets. A lot of them aren't a part of today's canonization, but that doesn't mean they're wrong. It's tradition for the youngest born to take up the priesthood of Aethys. Well, I did it in my own way. Of course, though we're few and spread out, most don't keep to temples. Soul shepherding requires travel. Mostly I learned through reading. Any text pertaining to Gone I could get my grubby hands on. No need to fiddle-foot around. I'm listening. Sure thing, Watcher. I'm all ears. Tell me what's on your mind. Always. Not a day or night goes by that I don't glimpse the darkness. It calls to me. My duty and my God. It knows. I got a wildness in my blood, Watcher. Oh, I am, Watcher. Can you hear them in there? The new souls I caught? Already they're giving me such sweet, deathly dreams. We talking during the Saints' War or after he died? Then you mean Gone. Sure, maybe my God still answers to Aethys as well. Why not? But Aethys died, and death requires change. He ain't what he was. Not in exactly the same way. That's why I think his other aspect, his darkness in the light, is what's burning brighter in him now. No need to fiddle-foot around. I'm listening. I'm glad we talked.
Better get to it, Captain. The green boy isn't going to wait around for us. Better get to it, Captain.
The children of the Dawn Stars. I wondered if we'd run into them. There's someone I used to know. Just an old friend. Came out here to settle with them last I heard. Maybe we should ask around, see if she's still out here. Might be she can help us.
Just a friend, huh?
Oh, well, both grew up in Gilded Vale, same temple. All right. We used to, you know. She was real loud, too. Used to have to cover her mouth or she'd get the dog howling in the next room.
Is this a provincial euphemism, or were you actually being discreet?
I knew you'd understand. You're gonna like her. I got a good feeling.
Better get to it, Captain. The green boy isn't going to wait around for us.
Gilded Vale got its name from the way the wheat fields used to look in the sun. But this place really is gilded. Might as well be a different world. Well, hard to miss what you can barely remember. All I know is my life took a turn when this world came stomping into mine. These great people got a funny way of passing on. They disappear from the world, but leave their problems behind for the rest of us to deal with. You know, I broke a wheel once too. First thing I thought of when we learned what Aethys was doing. My mom had this spinning wheel, and she loved it. Well, I was playing with it in the way a young child might when his parents are out, and that wheel came right off. It wouldn't go back into place, so I pushed it harder and harder, and pretty soon I'd broken off a spoke. Broke off 3 more trying to fix that. Anyway, I got whipped pretty good for it. That wheel was never the same, even after my dad fixed it. I used to think of the gods as being like parents to all of us. And now I know better. They're children, playing while their folks are gone.
"5 years ago, you controlled the destiny of thousands of souls in Sun and Shadow. But the choice you make today shall define the fate of every living thing in Eora. Good. I know you'll choose wisely. And no matter what happens, it's been an honor journeying with you."
We gonna do this or what? If it's all the same to you, Watcher, I'd rather not miss the moment my god brings the darkness down upon us. I want to see Gone become the true deity of death. How could it not? Gone is the aspect of death and decay, the other side of Aethys who we know governs the process of rebirth. But Aethys died in the Saints' War, and now Gone is going to destroy reincarnation as we know it. Tell me, Watcher, can there be a god of light and birth if souls themselves can no longer be reborn? It didn't work so good at Mogren's teeth, now. But sure, we can try to sway my god's will again. Well, if anyone could do it, I reckon it'd be you. Sure, you can trust me at your back, even if you're going against my god. I thought it'd be different how it turned out, but I couldn't dream of any other way. Now then, shall we go face my god for one last time? Find out what it is we can or can't do in these end times. Whether we're meant to wither or thrive, consider me your second shadow.
So, here we stand on Lost Ukaizo. Considering that all the powers of the Deadfire have scrambled to converge on this spot, you can forgive me for expecting more. My parents gave me an earful about the horizon-spanning beaches and towers reaching beyond the stars. All I can see is good folk tussling over a wasteland. Time to confront Aethys, hopefully for the last time. You know what you're doing? No time to waste then. I'm about as ready to confront a god as I'll ever be. We're doing good work here. Setting foot on Ukaizo is a statement that no one can ignore. You should be proud. Captain, I don't know what's gonna happen to us, but I want you to know. I'm not scared, and I'm glad you're here with me. I know we can, Captain. We're good like that. Go give the green boy a piece of your mind.
Leave it to me.
The machine controlling the storm winds down. The clattering of its machinery settles into a low whir and then, at last, hiccups to a halt. Beyond the tower, the black, roiling clouds of Andra's mortar roll away from the ancient city of Ukaizo, with only a tired sigh of wind to see them off. And on that last breath of wind, comes to you a familiar sound. The ring of a bell. The bell's ringing is soft, not the clangor and torrent you've grown used to. It calls to your soul, and your soul yearns to follow it. Your soul flees from your body and into the beyond, chasing that sound. It leads you at last to Bareth's realm, to that cold platform and room of endless doors.
Watcher, your journey nears its conclusion.
The pallid night stands before you, her gaunt face impassive.
That will depend on the will of Kith, whose desires are ever in flux.
The pallid night says,
Soon you will confront Aethys for what will likely be the final time. And you will do so as the Herald of Bareth, the only creature on the face of Eora to whom he will listen. Remember that.
The pallid night inclines her head to you, black hair hanging lank in her face. She steps back and cedes the floor to Helia with a small, resigned sigh.
If Aethys truly intends to go through with his mad plan to destroy the Wheel, a generation's worth of souls will be trapped in the in-between. So many would suffer. How can Aethys be so cruel? He cannot just abandon them. Aethys must help the Kith find a quick solution.
Helia says. Abaddon strides forward.
Aethys thrust this crisis on the Kith. They did not bring it upon themselves. Their only mistake was entrusting us to watch over them. Who will help them rebuild their world now?
Aothas will reveal every secret of the gods. Will Kith be able to change the established order if they have no wonder to inspire them? Aothas must help them resolve this quickly, lest every one of Eora's few remaining mysteries be laid plain.
Coddled children learn nothing that is not spoon-fed to them. With the wheel destroyed, Kith will tear themselves apart. It is the gods' duty to prevent that happening, lest they doom us all. And as Kith must be ruled, so too must the gods. I say that if Aothas is so eager to throw down the mantle of power and step aside, I shall take my rightful place as Queen of the Gods again.
Kith are strongest when they follow our lead, and we are strongest when we lead in turn. United in purpose with the gods, Kith can accomplish things that without us, they could never have even begun. They must be shown their boundaries to surpass them.
Kith will not solve Aothas' puzzle on their own. And without an established order to fight against, the bonds that bind them dissolve, and they fight amongst themselves.
Scan says, and casts a long look toward Wotica.
You underestimate your kind, Watcher.
Wotica's firm hand is but the motherly smothering of Helia by another name. Mortals should have no special advantages. Only once Kith have striven to improve themselves through trial will they truly know their measure. Kith must suffer to find their strength if they are to survive the world into which Eothas drags them.
Galawain says,
Our intervention in your struggle would be a cruelty and counter to our purpose.
Galawain says, he lets his words hang in the air for a moment. Gaze, level with your own.
Indeed. Kith must discover for themselves what it is they are worth, and of what it is they are capable. What we do for them, they do not learn for themselves. Trial breeds ingenuity. If our work of generations was not in vain, Kith will succeed in spite of Aothas' actions.
Magrin says,
I have faith in Kith's ability to meet Aothas' challenge. Do not mistake my words for indifference, Watcher. They are born from a fierce belief in your potential, not a refutation of it.
You thought we would not? We who have molded generations of Kith into the shapes we found most pleasing, then threw away like so much refuse when they no longer met our needs. You are a greater fool than I thought. Magrin is blinded by her affection for mortals. She does not see that entropy is the destiny of all things. If Eothas were wise, he would destroy everything. End life, end reincarnation, end death. Kith have had their chance. It is time to let silence reign.
As Rimergon's words fade, the Pallid Night returns. She no longer towers over you, a giant even among the gods, but meets you at your height. She lets the arms crossed over her chest fall to her sides. She speaks to you openly, plainly, an expression almost like tenderness, turning up the corners of her lips.
Well, Watcher, you know where we stand. What do you believe? I only suggest that you walk into this future with eyes wide, Watcher. The mantle of responsibility is a heavy one, broad though Kith's shoulders may be. Now the time has come for us to part, Watcher. I laid upon you a difficult duty, and I know you desire to be free of it. You will be in time, but not now. You have work to do yet. You are no stranger to hard choices. You killed Theos, and when his soul was laid bare before you, you chose to banish it to Braith Aemon. You gave him the justice you believed he deserved. Remember the strength it took to make that choice, and know that you alone may sway Aethys now. When you stand before him, choose your words carefully.
She claps her gauntleted hands together, and a sound like thunder rumbles through the room. As the floor crumbles and falls away beneath you, you hear the sound of a single bell ringing, and beneath it, the faintest whisper.
You keep falling asleep on me, I'm gonna have to start walking behind you with a pillow. Oh, by the way, the storm's gone. Also, I think Aethys has ended the world. It seems we're all still here.
If all your missions involve this many head wounds, then I volunteer to set the next one out.
God's darnation. My head.
Yeah. Got it.
So now it comes to this, amico. You think to steal my golden dream, but I will not allow it to happen. My gratitude is yours for disabling the storms. It seems I did not require Rivan's ship to reach Ukaiso in the end. In that, you are mistaken, amico. Not for any reason would I leave the lost city of gold unplundered. If you do not believe that, you have never met a true pirate. The lost city of gold will be the foundation of the future of the Principe. And you will die now for the greater good. Gores.
Got someone in my sights.
Say your prayers.
Sure.
You descend into the ancient, winding streets of Ukaizo. Battered by storms for thousands of years, the ruins bear the marks of their role as the lone witnesses of the god's great secret at the center of the city. The houses and boulevards are pierced by great spears of luminous Audra. There are no ashen bodies, no birds, no sign or sound of any life. But with every step, the rhythmic pounding in the distance draws nearer. Soon, you can feel the vibration traveling up your spine. As you approach the center of the city, the weathered architecture gives way to more luminous Audra, piercing the ruins, eventually overtaking them entirely. Cresting the top of a fallen tower, you finally get a clear view of Aethys. He stands, legs astride, next to a great stone monument ringed with 11 cavernous alcoves. All but 3 hold a gargantuan skeleton, bones scrubbed clean by the city's storms. An immense Anguithan machine floats above the monument, suspended by invisible energy emanating from a well of light beneath it. Great brass rings spin around a core of metal and Audra at the machine's center. Periodically, Aethys's massive arms swing back. The movement alone is enough to draw great gusts of wind toward him. When they come down on the machine, the impacts are accompanied by eruptions of electricity, fire, and smoke. The hundreds of luminous Audra pillars across Ukaizo sympathetically dim in a rippling wave that spreads out from the machine. The only safe route to the god is a steep ascent along a monstrous pillar of luminous Audra. Intertwined with fragments of Ukaizo's ruins that it has carried through the centuries, the pillar bends in a long arc, towering above the machine. The pillar levels out near Aethys's head, a silent observer to the destruction of the machine it has grown beside over thousands of years. You weave your way along a treacherous, rain-slicked path up the pillar's skyward side. As you arrive at the top, you catch Aethys's attention. Fist pulled back, he pauses to observe you. With the same gentleness he showed at Ashen Maw, he lowers his arm and turns toward you.
Strange to see Ukaizo in this way. It may be hard to picture, but this city was once full of life. The Hawana, yes, but also kith from many other cultures. Great hanging trees shadowed these boulevards. Gardens sprawled across the open rooftops. Each spring, a festival procession would wind its way from the hillside into this valley. The celebrants would pass through a steep walk among the stalls of foreign merchants, flowers falling upon them from all sides. All people of all nations
together in a celebration of new life. Such was the power and beauty of lost Ukaizo.
If we don't fix this mess you're about to cause, the whole world is gonna look this bad. I mean, it's a mighty heavy load you're putting on our shoulders. I just hope we can carry it.
As long as there are people like you in this world, Adair, I truly do. This power has always been in the grasp of mortals. Now you will finally be aware of it. Now you will be able to decide what to do with it.
Ukaizo's corpse is beautiful, my god. This, its current state, is but one spoke in the ever-turning wheel of life and death, and so no less worthy than its incarnation at birth. But you seek to break that wheel. I beseech you, Gon, that when you do it right. Burn to ash every Audra root in hell so that it may never regrow. Let the darkness reign eternal.
It saddens me that the harvesting of souls in my name has brought you to this place, Shoti. But I am the cause, and I must take responsibility for it. I can only hope that after I am gone, you will see there is a brighter future for mortals. It is a future that you can help shape, even if you cannot see it now.
What right do you have to do this? Destroy the wheel and leave us with nothing? Without even knowing what will come next?
Aloth, we are all gods and mortals, responsible for our own actions. But inaction carries its own moral responsibility. It is a burden I have carried for far too long. One must always do as their conscience dictates, even if that means abdicating a position of power.
The Navy thinks very highly of this place. Maybe I lack their imagination. What do you think, big guy? Are all the hopes and dreams of Rauatai here on Ukaizo? Is this city really the cornerstone of our future?
Ukaizo's time has passed, Maya. It remains only as a symbol, but symbols can hold great power. If you wonder about the future of Rauatai, know that if there is any greatness in your people, it existed before you set foot in this ancient place. Ukaizo will not make Rauatai any greater or lesser than it already is. Only its people possess that power. But what of you, Watcher? Why have you followed me? Have you come to bear witness to the breaking of the wheel? It is pity for mortals that drives me, Watcher. I have felt it in every step I have taken to cross the Deadfire and reach this place. What more would you have me do? It is true. While the eventual restoration of the wheel will bring them relief, they will suffer until that time comes. Thank you for making me think of the lost souls, Watcher. I will provide a haven for them after my work here is finished. I must attend to my final work now. I cannot delay any longer. You have carried a heavy burden across the Deadfire, Watcher. Before I go, I would rid you of it. You are free now, as free as any of us can be. Many will come to you for help in the years ahead. Animancers, priests, even the gods themselves. I have great hope for you, but always remember that your future is for you to decide. Use your freedom well.
Aethys squares himself to the machine. As you move to a safe distance, he draws his fist back and resumes his assault. The blows rain down with increased fervor, but the machine perseveres in spite of his efforts. Spreading his arms wide, Aethys draws power from the luminous Audra clustered around the valley. The energy courses through his body, limbs overflowing with intense light and waves of heat. He returns to his task, each strike bringing with it the sound of cracking stone and twisting metal, the flickering of luminous Audra across Ukaizo. As the ancient machine finally begins to succumb to his strength, so too does Aethys's body, built to withstand the passage of thousands of years. The great Audra statue has finally been pushed beyond its limits. Cracks appear along the hands, then race up the arms. Aethys does not slow his assault, but continues unabated. Its brass rings twisted, the machine spins erratically but withstands the relentless barrage. Aethys stands astride it and pummels the base of the machine. Soul energy begins to flare out from the machine's heart, warping the air with the intense heat. Aethys drives his right fist into the machine's center, the core of metal and Audra. The god lets out a deafening shout, something between a cry of anguish and a roar of exultation. You see Aethys's arm shatter upward from his hand through his elbow. A flash of light and heat bursts from the core, accompanied by a cacophony of destruction. The moment passes, as Aethys's shout echoes throughout the valley. Your eyes begin to recover. The god's work is accomplished. The great machine of Ukaizo has been destroyed. The wheel has been unmade. As Aethys's voice fades, the enormity of what you've accomplished sinks in. You have confronted a god. You have rediscovered the ancient city where the wheel was forged, and you have seen the wheel shattered. What comes next is uncertain, but already the legend spreads of the Watcher who survived Andra's mortar and stood toe-to-toe with Aethys. Maras Nua's body finally goes still amidst the rubble of the Angwithan machines, yet it continues to glow. Priests and mystics have strange dreams of an island of eternal dawn at the eye of a storm, a port where the tide never flows out, a roadside tavern whose door leads only inward. As a watcher, you see what these dreamers cannot. The souls of the departed drifting toward the Audra Colossus and the twilit afterlife within. Whether it is a temporary haven or a permanent end will depend on what the Kith of Eora are able to accomplish on their own. The greatest hope seems to lie with the Rowatayans, whose plans to excavate and rebuild the shattered machinery of reincarnation draws many of the engineers and weather mages who once irrigated and protected their rocky homeland. And while Maras Nua stands frozen over Ukaizo, the gods look on the labors of Kith, but they do not intervene. They watch and argue, wager and conjecture at how or whether mortals will solve the puzzle set before them. As Rauatai's engineers had predicted, turning off the machine at Andra's spire calms not only the storms of Andra's mortar, but also those in Rauatai. For the first time, citizens of the mainland admire the beauty of sea and sky, without wondering when they will unleash destruction. The changes to Rauatai, however, extend far beyond the weather. Rauataians had long forged their identities around enduring hardship and laboring together. But over time, as their cities and crops flourish under sunny skies, they find they need one another less. Inevitably, some lament this softer, easier life. Others point to national self-reliance, to burgeoning industry, to families that did not have to send their kin abroad, as evidence that the new ways are vastly preferable to the old. Besides, Rauataians everywhere still share a purpose more urgent than any the world had ever known, reforging the cycle of reincarnation. The changes to Deadfire are just as significant. The Ranganui declares the archipelago an extension of his empire, and his administrators waste no time in making that true in deed, as well as in word. Rauataian gunships patrol Deadfire, hunting down pirates and smugglers, including the remaining Principe. After their defeat at Andra's mortar, the pirate nation stands no chance against the organized might of Rauatai. As Rauataian farmers, merchants, and laborers move to the archipelago, there is little room and less patience for the Valian Trading Company. The Ranganui soon forces the Valian Trading Company to surrender its holdings in Deadfire, straining relations with the republics. Rauatai knits its new archipelago together with all the tools of government and infrastructure. New ports spring up across Deadfire, guarded with sturdy Rauataian bronze and run with dispassionate Rauataian efficiency. Most Huana remain, even as their homeland changes around them. Their huts and lodges are cleared to make way for towns of stone and brick. The walls that are built to protect them also cut them off from the freedom of the open sea. Those Huana who trade caste and prize share for Rauataian unity and striving prosper. Others mourn the passing of their queen and see the end of their way of life as a precursor of the doom of Aora. The mysterious deaths of Governor Clario and Storm Speaker Ikawa provoke hostilities between the Valian settlers and the Huawan residents. What starts with angry words escalates to retaliatory killings as each side blames the other. By the time anyone bothers to question the strange coincidences surrounding their deaths, including reports of a cloaked Omawi woman seen in both the port and the village, both sides have gone too far to turn back. The chaos makes it easy for a small Rauataian contingent to swoop in and establish control over the island. Within days, they eject the remaining Valians and pacify the Huana. Port Maje becomes a valuable outpost, and one that allows Rauatai easy control over the southern end of Deadfire. It is, by all accounts, a smooth and exceedingly well-run operation. As the balance of power changes in Deadfire, so too does Nekataka transform. While Hazanui Karu directs her fleet from Ukaizo, Atsura stays behind to manage Nekataka. Under his oversight, sturdy walls and artillery batteries rise to protect the city. Ships bearing settlers from Rauatai and staple goods from the archipelago churn the waters of Queensbirth. And despite the vacancies at Kahanga Palace, Atsura retains his simple quarters in the Brass Citadel. The pirates continue smuggling food into the gullet, and the Raparu embrace their benefactors, aiding and concealing their smuggling operations. Over time, the gullet becomes a hotbed of piracy. With Skia Relifus's essence still empowering the Watershapers Guild, The practice of water shaping grows and flourishes in Neketaka, and its practitioners rise in prestige. They install conveyors in the falls that run through the city and craft sculptures for every street and plaza. Thus, the Water Shapers Guild becomes a power in its own right in the city of Neketaka. Your brief encounter with Letharn proves deeply influential for the children of the Dawnstars. Plagued with nightmares and haunted by the deaths at Hesango, Letharn begins questioning his faith in Aethys. At first, his fellow Dawnstars chide him, but that changes as word of Aethys' deeds at Ukaizo spreads. After all, what business have they worshipping a god who denied his own legitimacy? The children of the Dawnstars respond to Aethys' sacrifice by taking up the lanterns and sickles of the Harvesters of Gone. They become pilgrims of essence, gathering souls across Aora and ferrying them to the haven within the Adra Colossus. Others will repair or rebuild the wheel one day. In the meantime, the Dawnstars will care for the souls of the dead. With the Adra at Pokakohara destroyed and hopes of a Valian outpost dashed, the tribes resolve to leave Tikawara behind. Small and mobile, they move amongst the Kuaorakuhu Islands, where they escape the notice of larger powers. Ships continue to disappear at the southeastern fringe of the archipelago, and stories circulate of a colony of vampires and gulls preying on their crews. The Hazanui soon sends the Rukapa, who end the horrors of Splintered Reef. Though your adventures alter the destiny of Aora and the balance of power in Deadfire, they also leave a lasting mark on those who travel at your side. Your companions find themselves changed in ways both big and small. In the days sailing back from Ukaizo, Adair finds himself disillusioned with all gods, his own above all. Where the gods have touched Deadfire, he sees only destruction, loss, and emptiness. He casts off all symbols of Aethys, and even begins refusing to use his name. Ultimately, he chooses to remain with you on the Defiant, knowing if any mortal is to have the final word in a conflict with the gods, it will be the Watcher of Cadnua. Shodi is not a priestess who understands the meaning of subtlety. As such, she makes her girlish crush on Adair painfully obvious from the moment she first sets eyes on the strapping fighter. Early in your travels, Adair appears discomforted by her persistent flirting. He often grimaces when she sidles up to him, and he takes endless pains to keep their conversations terse and to the point. But after a little smoothing on your part to nudge them in the right direction, Adair makes an effort to view Shodi with an open mind. And Shodi begins teasing the veteran fighter in a more companionable and less amorous manner. After saving each other's hides a couple times and sharing more than a few laughs, the two form an easy, and you suspect, lifelong friendship. Plagued by constant nightmares and hallucinations, Shodi becomes increasingly disassociated from reality. Meanwhile, her power continues to grow with every soul she harvests. You start to notice sliced-up animal corpses everywhere you two travel. But when confronted about it, Shodi stomps her feet and fiercely denies any wrongdoing. Then, one night, Shodi wakes, but never leaves the nightmare. Shivering uncontrollably, she packs up her belongings and slips away into the darkness, murmuring that she must return to the Temple of Gon in order to fulfill her purpose to her god. But she never reaches the temple. None of the Dawnstars know what's become of her, aside from disturbing rumors of a harvester ravaging the southeastern islands in the Deadfire, leaving a trail of blood in her wake. If Aloth has learned one thing from your adventures, it is that the forces shaping the world are vaster and more complex than he had ever imagined, and they are far beyond anyone's power to control. Thus, it is with great relief that he sheds Theus's mantle. The leaden key will become what Kith need of it in time, assuming they have need of it at all. Time away from the Navy gives Maya Rua some perspective on how Rauatai conducted the Deadfire occupation. No sooner does she return to active duty than she voices her frustrations over some of the more underhanded tactics she witnessed and carried out in the name of the homeland. Her voice carries all the way to the Ranganui, who reminds his admirals that battles are won by superior tactics, but war is a battle of precedent, and winning is not always a victory. The people listen. Maya's part in the conquest of Ukaizo brings fame and fortune to the Rua family. Officers salute her in passing, and a row of medals decorate the breast of her uniform. Her parents and siblings are paraded between the great houses of Rauatai for nightly dinners and celebrations. She has a hero's welcome in her future. There's never enough free time to explore your mutual connection. Something about your bond feels unfinished. But as your paths diverge, you start running out of reasons to see each other. In your presence, she's always armed with a pleasant smile and lots of questions. Her embrace is full of warmth. If there isn't time now, someday there might be. She looks forward to seeing her brother again. So does Ashiza. Tekehu distances himself from the problems of the Deadfire, giving the tribes a reprieve from godlike omens. Ngati's silence speaks volumes. The Huana grow to rely on each other, paving a new way forward divorced from their traditions. Soon after he departs Nekataka, distant tribes report of unusual and salacious water sculptures appearing on the shores. These quaint visitations are widely celebrated, the identity of the artist ever an open question. Your farewell is short and cordial. Nothing further needs to be said, and you wish each other well. Tekehu does not look back. The sea feels restless in his absence. Your pursuit of Aethys and your journey to Ukaizo signal the end of forces that have shaped the lives of Kith and the course of nations. The cycle of reincarnation has been broken. The storms of Andra's mortar have calmed. Yet each ending promises a new beginning. As the sun rises over Ukaizo, Kith turn their gaze eastward, wondering at what lies beyond, and at the world they will fashion for themselves. As the Watcher of Cadnua and the former Herald of Bareth, you return to your ship and begin the long journey home. You hope for calm weather.